We're going to talk about two things today. The first thing we're going to deal with is the Brexit, as they call it, Britain possibly leaving the economic union. And we have some viewers from over there and who we love. And I'm going to jump in on this, though I know I'm from the west side of the pond, and our commentary may be skewed by being from the outside and not the inside. But it seems to me that Britain should not leave the economic union. It should take this deal that they struck and run with it. What are you going to gain by leaving? You've gotten your banks basically off the hook for bailouts. You've limited the benefits for immigrants. You've become much more of a sovereign state in certain rights of getting away from some of these really sclerotic bureaucrats over in Brussels. And I can see why you wouldn't want to be dealing with those people all the time. But at the same time, what would Britain or the UK be losing if it left? You got trade deals already set up with Europe. It's major. Britain is a major financial hub of Europe. People go back and forth, make lots of money. They're all friends. You have a say in what goes on the continent. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, if you break it up, I don't see where it makes sense. If you break it up, you break up your trade deals. You suddenly you have to get visa deals. You got to get this. You got to get that. I mean, what is the UK going to become? Just an island nation again? And if that happens, do the Scotlands of the world decide, well, what do I want to stay with the English for? They left the EU. I may want to join the EU or I may not, but I may want to do what I want to do. If it's good for the English, it's good for me. I think it encourages this separation when it's really necessary to kind of stay together, integrated in some way. Of course, not like we are over here in the States. We're 50 states, but part of one union. We're all Americans, and it's a little bit different where you're sovereign countries. But it just, to me, doesn't seem to make sense to break off something that's strong, that's vital, that makes people friendly and keeps them friendly and has people maintain intercourse. What more can you ask for, especially with all these new rules? I say, don't break what works. Stay in the economic union, take the deal. The other issue we want to talk about is the Supreme Court, and not about whether or not, who President Obama is going to nominate and what the Senate's going to do. The Senate will probably, hopefully they'll be nice about it and not really go after the nominee personally like the Senate always does. And I say the Senate, doesn't matter if it's Democrat or Republicans, or maybe borked Robert Bork, and I was no supporter of Robert Bork, but the Democrats went crazy there. The Reid-led Democrats, the Senator Reid-led Democrats, hardly ever allowed things to go through, and then of course they changed the rules to make it easier to get their stuff through. So it's, Chuck Schumer, all these guys, come on, it's the Senate. So I just have to hope that the Senate, in this situation, would be the Republicans, unless the president comes up with somebody who's just so perfect that we have a love-in, but I haven't seen a love-in since 1967. We'll have hopefully the Senate will be nice and polite to the person, and then we'll probably reject that person. And if I was that person, I don't know why anybody would want to be that person nominated to be in the middle of this, knowing everything that's going on. But at the same time, the issue seems to be, that's coming out now, is should these judges be lifetime appointments? The Washington Post says no. Washington Post is a great newspaper. They say no. I don't agree. Why subject judges to even more of the politics? Look what they got to go through, the humiliation they have to go through to get appointed, to go through the Senate, the advice and consent of the Senate, and then win. It's horrible. At the same time, if they had say a 15-year term, everybody knows come the 13th or the 12th year that they're up to be, if they're not allowed to be reappointed, they're out and they can just do whatever they want to do. But if they could be up for reappointment at that point, then they're going to get even more political. And if you're going to have it rolling kind of the way the Senate rolls with its elections, or with the 6 years, and it kind of, some are going at different times, unlike the House where it's every 2 years. Talk about the politics these judges are going to be forced to deal with, and then who knows who's going to be in charge during the next roll of the Senate. So the Republicans won't okay the Democrats won't okay the Republicans, and we'll know those dates are coming up. So everybody will be sitting there going, oh, watch this. If these guys do something wrong, you can just hear it on the Senate floor. If they vote incorrectly here, they're not going to get reappointed. I mean, talk about the politics that would be involved. Yeah, they get sclerotic when they're there. I believe Justice Scalia was there 30 years. But these people at least are pretty straight up. You know where they come from. They're really smart. They know their thing. And the Supreme Court's just been a wonderful court. It just has been. I mean, we've had bad decisions, separate but equal. But at the same time, the Supreme Court has really, at least throughout the last 50, 60 years, been a beacon of good. And the justices now get along. They're friendly. They do their thing. I see no reason to subject these justices to tenure and to be in a situation where they have, to term limits so that they lose lifetime tenure and that they suddenly become even more political animals. What we don't need are more politicians. We need less politicians. Peace.